Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats at hotDOCS in downtown Toronto. I'm here with Morgan Schmidt-Feng. How does it feel to have your film on her own screening here at hotDOCS?
We're incredibly honored to be here. I've never been to Toronto, and hotDOCS is an amazing festival, and it's a huge opportunity for this film to share it not just with Canadians, but to share it with the whole world. And this is definitely the jumping off point for that. And so we're just excited to see that more people will see it because of this important festival.
And tell me a little bit about what got you specifically passionate about farming, your background and connection to farming.
So I grew up in Berkeley, which is a city on the West Coast in California, and my mom is from a small farming community in Iowa, and so I'd never been to I'd never been to Iowa except for when I was like 2 years old, so I have no memory of that, and so I only heard stories from my great grandmother, who was still alive when I was a kid, and my grandmother and my mom. And they would share stories about all the different things that happened on the farm and what it was like and how it felt. And so when I met Nancy, I was shooting a show, like a TV show, and I was doing like a 1 minute segment. And so I was like, wait a minute, here's an opportunity for me to find out more about what it's really like and maybe bring those stories to life that I'd only heard as a kid. And so I said, hey, can I have your email? And thankfully she replied back when I emailed her. And a couple weeks later, I was up there shooting with a friend of mine, Anthony Lindsay, who's a still photographer, and I was totally hooked the first day. I mean, it was like so much crazy stuff happened on the first day. I mean, from my perspective as someone who's not living on a farm, and I was like, okay, I'm hooked.
And did spending time with Nancy and her family make you feel more connected to your roots?
It really did. It gave me a greater appreciation for how much work my great grandmother and my grandmother mostly and what my mom had gone through. And so it gave me a much greater appreciation for how much work and how much sacrifice goes into putting food on our table every day. And so, yeah.
And Nancy is such a strong woman, an inspiring woman.
Yeah.
When you first set out on this journey, were you like, she really is a fighter and a wonderful mother figure as well? Were you expecting, to be following this? She's a force.
Well, my mom, even though she seems kind of unassuming, she's a very strong woman. I mean, she came to Berkeley in the 60s, got arrested for trying to, make sure that there was a women's section in the library. She would go and she would boycott, grapes that were being, unfair wages to the workers. And so she had a strong sort of feminist activist kind of way of being. And I have 4 sisters. So for me, it was very natural to feel comfortable with somebody like Nancy, who would really kind of be comfortable in their own skin and have, be intelligent, be strong, and be outgoing. All those things were pretty normal to me.
And what are you hoping audiences will take away from the film?
What I hope people take away from the film is that they see how it is that we're all interconnected, even though they live on a farm and they do things that seem totally unusual to many people who live in the city. We're really connected in many ways. And, the other thing I want people to take away is that, it's really important for us to support our farmers, because it's like we need food to survive as a species, and it's like they provide this incredible amount of food for all of us, and it's a shrinking population of farmers, and the average age of a farmer is 58. And a lot of people don't realize, but it's incredibly difficult to start a farm from nothing. And the amazing thing about Nancy's farm is that it's been passed from generation to generation, and it's so much harder to start a farm from scratch. And so it's so important to hang on to that legacy.
In terms of family farms versus larger operation, larger farms, what can we do to help support family farms? Because I know many of them are having to close down. But what can we do to support the local family farms?
Well, I think what's important is that even if you don't have a farmer's market in your area, even if you have sort of a bigger box store, chain store type place, go to the manager, go online and let them know that you want to have food that is locally sourced, that you want to have food that's verified that it comes from, from smaller farmers and not just flown in from 1,500 miles away, because the average distance in America food travels is 1,500 miles to get to your plate. And so it's important to let your local grocer, who you pay money to every week, that if they want your business, they need to carry products that come from small farms too, not just from the big 10,000, 100,000 acre operations.
And where's the best place for us to find out more information on you and the film online?
If you go to onherownfilm.com, you can find out about the film, and there's also being a book written about the film, so you can also find out about it there too.
Well, thanks so much, and congratulations on the film and the book as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats in downtown Toronto.